I am Thor, son of Odin, and as long as there is life in my breast, I am running out of things to say.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix.
That's my secret, Cat.
I'm always angry.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are. With great power comes great responsibility. I can do this all day.
Wakanda forever!
And welcome, Internet, to another episode of Views from the 616, the blackest MCU podcast in the multiverse, powered by four old nerds, where we discuss everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. And it is one of your hosts, Tatiana King, a.k.a. the Book of Ashanti, a.k.a. T'Challa Bread, the Wicked Witch of the West, View, coldest winter soldier ever, and Doc Ock. And this week, I am reviewing all things episode 3 of She-Hulk. I'm going at it dolo this week. Love and blessings to my partner, my podcast partner, DJ Ben Hameen. He will be back soon. In the meantime, we are here to discuss She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, episode 3, The People versus Emil Blonsky. Now, as always, we're going to give you some information about what I liked about the episode, what I disliked about the episode, as well as some thoughts on any of the Easter eggs or music that was in this episode. So let's start with the things I loved. So I have to say, I absolutely love the self-awareness, the level of self-awareness and the commentary that comes from Jen Walters when she's speaking to the camera directly, when she's talking to the people around her. I know that's part of the She-Hulk persona. It's part of how she's written in the books about all the fourth world breaking, but it's really very clever. Shout out to Chairman Gao, as she's called on Twitter, for the really poignant and really sharp writing in this. I thought it was funny, for example, when you see Jen look into the camera and she says, connecting the A and B story. Nice. That's Jen speaking directly to her own writers, breaking the fourth wall, and also similar to what her comic book counterpart does all the time. So that was really cool. I also enjoy how art imitates life lots of times, and even the style of commentary that you are seeing throughout the series thus far. And they pour it on very heavy for this episode. You get things like the political news outlets, gossip blogs, and just news channels, things like that, covering all of She-Hulk's moves. It's super pop culture heavy. You also see the things that you would normally see. A lot of unserious interviews. You went from talking about a very serious matter of She-Hulk defending Emil Blonsky to next up, She-Hulk's diet and exercise secrets. Again, very unserious and very much modeled after what you see in real life. And really also more commentary, right? More commentary about how the media and society treats women, how even if you are this amazing, incredible person with all of these talents, and I mean, look at people like Serena, right? She is the greatest of all time when it comes to athletes. And she keeps asking questions like, are you surprised by your level? Nah, bro, I'm Serena Williams. And same thing here with She-Hulk. Nah, bro, I'm She-Hulk. I'm good. As far as art imitating life, you get to see things like, as they're using in this episode, what looks to be like a model of Twitter, types of comments and tweets you would see, the edgelords of the internet, all those people are accounted for. You get to see how rumors and misinformation is easily spread. Especially we saw that tabloid where it said Jen Walters, or rather She-Hulk, was pregnant with Abomination's baby. I just thought that was funny, but also just the fact that people can say pretty much anything online and is taken as fact before anybody really thinks like, oh, let me dig a little bit deeper into this. Because all people care about a lot of times is just the entertainment of it all, of the sport of it all, of rumor spreading and how that whole thing just blows up. You also get to see a lot in the world of the typical toxic male and their reactions to a lot of times when you see women come into power. Like you saw some of the comments of the pseudo tweets that were shown on screen, like, why everything got to be female now? The video where the guy was like, they took the man's power away, they took the Hulk's power away, gave it to a woman. What's that about? Like, this is the downfall of men. Like, really ridiculous, unserious, and unfounded accusations and conspiracy theories that happen just because a woman shows up half the time. And that alone just continues to drive home the points that Jennifer has been making since episode 1, that she just breathes and it's a problem. And it happens with a lot of women, right? A lot of times we just can't even be on the street minding our own damn business. without being bothered about something or about being accused of something. So it's wild in these streets, and there's no difference when it comes to Jen Hulk. Jen Hulk, wow, that's her new name, but Jennifer Walters, even when she is She-Hulk. There was also the comment from one of this, I guess he's a kid, he's a young guy. He was saying, I don't know y'all, but I'd smash. Obviously, I think that's hilarious that Disney Marvel would even allow that, like that type of conversation. And again, just shows you about the forward facingness of the way that this series is being written. But also, it's also a play a little bit on the whole Hulk smash, right? That's getting perverted and sexualized all because She-Hulk is indeed a woman. And also, it's a bit of a commentary on the name She-Hulk itself. This character was created back in 1980, and it was really one real reason the character was created. It wasn't because of equality and all this other stuff. And it was because Stan Lee didn't want a competing publisher to try to sell a female derivative of one of Marvel's most famous characters. At the time, there was the really popular Incredible Hulk series on CBS during the late 70s. And obviously, as you see with a lot of the battle between DC and other publishers, a lot of times they would try to ride on the wave of popular male characters and just make the female equivalent of that, right? So in trying to block that from happening, She-Hulk was created. And yeah, it's a simple way to protect property, but it's also a little bit unimaginative as well, right? It doesn't really give any thought to what this character is supposed to be. And thankfully, the character did develop more as time went on, but it's just similar to even how She-Hulk in this series was given her name. She said on the news interview, some random guy on the news came up with it in 2 seconds. And that's kind of what it feels like as well. It was just a way to kind of protect the interests of men. But hey, we still have an amazing character because of it. And we still love Stan Lee. No shade to him whatsoever. Rest in power always. Let's also talk about another thing that I really liked. I loved not the shapeshifter herself, but who she was shifting into. And of course, is my girl, the stallion herself, Meg the Stallion. The shapeshifter is a light elf named Runa, and at least in this series, she's a daughter of a new Asgard diplomat. And it just shows just more integration to the MCU with the mention of Asgard, new Asgard, Thor, because she tries to do Thor's speech to try to say why, what does it say? Asgard is not a place, it's a people. And the judge's like, all right, sit down, man. But that integration, as well as the introduction of Meg the Stallion and her being now canon part of the MCU, is incredible. I love how they really fully integrated Meg into the entire episode. It wasn't just a really quick cameo, but from the beginning, when they even started talking about the shapeshifter, it became a running joke and became a running gag throughout each scene and each sequence. So that was really cool. And I personally feel, as a fellow hottie, I personally feel the world is definitely a better place to have Meg as part of MCU canon. It shows you all the different types of levels she's reached as an artist and as a person. This show has global reach. It's all Disney Plus stuff. It's Marvel. It's big time. And that tells you how deeply in the pop culture space she is being elevated to, and really where we are when it comes to series like She-Hulk. And of course, my love for Meg is clearly not alone, because it's apparent head writer Jessica Gao loves Megan, and everyone else involved, including Tatiana Maslany herself. She said that she thinks Meg is a queen, and we also saw that in the mid-credit end scene where you see She-Hulk say, "I will kill for you, Meg the Stallion." Another thing I really loved about this episode that I just thought was hilarious was Wong. Wong was right all day long. Shout out to our TeePublic page, tpublic.com/stores/forallnerds. If you like this Wong was right shirt, and I implore you, please get one, because you need to wear it to the next Marvel movie. But make sure you hit up that. Again, that's our merch page, tpublic.com/stores/forallnerds. Wong dipping with his "I must depart" when the panel said, hey, you aiding and abetting in the release of an inmate is breaking the law. Wong ain't about to be arrested, y'all. He's going to open up his little portal and dip right as he needs to. I love that about him. And I also got to say, I do love the fact that Emil Blonsky / Abomination has actually been rehabilitated. Like, you just see it go from this really kind of scary approach, really serious, really, I almost killed your cousin type of thing, to it's now comedy, and they took a lot of the teeth out of him. Now, I know some people who may not like that idea of taking the teeth out of Abomination, but let's be real, right? This is a different type of MCU. This is different from the version that we saw years ago with Ed Norton. So, I mean, this is what it is, and this is a comedy show at the end of the day. So this is what you're gonna get. Generally, I didn't dislike anything about this episode except this CGI. It's kind of looking a little worse for wear at times. Particularly towards the beginning of the episode where we see Jen and Nikki walking through the office and having a conversation. It looks kind of like, I don't know, PlayStation cutscene. Like it's not actually part of the full live action. It's just you can literally see like an insertion of, okay, and here's where the animation starts. Like as you look at Jen, especially when she's juxtaposed against other people, at least in this episode, it doesn't feel good. Like it just I don't know why that is. And I know the animators put a lot of time and effort into these things. I don't know if things were rushed. I have no idea. And it's not a money issue. We can't say, I mean, money is no object, right? This is Disney Marvel we're talking about. So I don't know what's going on, but maybe it's the lighting. Not sure. It just looks particularly fake. So I'm hoping that kind of levels out as we continue in this series. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about the Easter eggs, inspiration, and music of She-Hulk episode 3. Namely, one of the things that popped up was the mention of an inhibitor collar. Now, at the end of Emil Blonsky's case, his court case, his hearing, one of his sentences is, he's technically freed, but he is told he can no longer turn into Abomination indefinitely, or that would be immediate jail. And to facilitate that, they say that he has to wear an inhibitor. This reminded me of inhibitor collars, which is directly related to X-Men. And this just, again, to me, opens up the door for more X-Men, more mutants, as it's already been shown to now be canon in the MCU. We did see on the Miss Marvel, or here on the Miss Marvel Disney Plus show, that the word mutants being used to describe a mutation potentially in Kamala Khan's DNA. And of course, as we know, that's going to be reinserted. You did get to see technically a mutant in Professor X with Multiverse of Madness, and we have yet to see like just it being just very clear as day that it's mutants. But we know they're coming. The word has been used, and just to see more of the expansion of that within the Disney Plus shows is really cool. But more on that inhibitor collar. In the Claremont run of the X-Men series, we do see, that's where you really see the main effects of the Mutant Control Act, how mutants are kept confined in these concentration camps. They made to wear these collars to inhibit their power. And again, just showing you more integration of the concept of mutants and that power. There's also a part after the end of Dennis's hearing. Dennis is the one that got tricked by the light elf. But Dennis says, "Oh, I wish there was a way to remove her powers," talking about the light elf, "and not victimize anyone else." And right after, Jen looks at the camera and says, "Oh, that's an idea." Now, what was she referring to when she said that? I don't know if she was referring to Emil and as part of, something she negotiated as part of his sentencing, or was she referring to something else that might happen in the future, right? Like, is she going to propose this as a way to kind of not absolve mutants or superpower individuals of crime, but to say, hey, you know what, this person did something heinous. They are repentant, and they'll never do it again. And here's something that will show that they really will never do it again. And if she is going to be part of that, is she going to kind of be the annoying architect of some of the more on not so nice programs that we see, especially as I mentioned, what we see with X-Men. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe it was already shown where that went, or maybe there will be future implications. But I did wanted to make that a point. Obviously, I have to also mention that mid-credit scene with Jen and Meg Thee Stallion twerking in the office. Just another thing I just didn't think I'd ever see in an MCU project, let alone a Disney Plus show. During that contract signing, you see them twerking and getting down to Meg Thee Stallion's body. I actually learned that that's actually Tatiana Maslany herself twerking. So they may have did a little bit of body mocap there, some motion capture there, a little motion capture suit. as well on top of the CGI animation. So apparently Tatiana is actually a really good dancer, and she was super excited to be filming scenes with Meg Thee Stallion and obviously dancing with her. Who wouldn't be excited about that? We also have, we see towards the end of the episode, Jen getting attacked by 4 randoms. These niggas have what looks to be like Asgardian tools or weapons in their hand. And she says, hey, did you guys rob like an Asgardian construction worker? And they're like, yeah. And there's a few reasons why that works. One of the people's name is Thunderball, one of the guys who tries to attack her, the one who actually tries to, as we find out, get a sample of her blood. Thunderball is actually part, in the comics anyway, he's part of a group called the Wrecking Crew. And in the comics, he appears to actually be a black man. He's known to have genius level intellect, and he completes feats like building a gamma ray bomb, something that not even Bruce Banner himself could do at the time. In the comics, Thunderball and the Wrecking Crew, they actually faced many Marvel superheroes like Thor, Iron Man, the Avengers, and the Hulk. So they fit right in when it comes to being introduced. And actually, my podcast partner Ben Amin mentioned that we're probably going to see a lot of random characters and just offbeat stories be thrown into this She-Hulk series. And this, to me, is one of them. In the stories, the Wrecking Crew has helped damage control. At another point, they're forced into the government Thunderbolt program. And as we know of folks like Abomination, they were also forced to be under the control of the government. So they mention that their boss is going to be mad because they didn't get the blood or get whatever they were supposed to be after. Who is their boss remains to be seen. But I do know, as mentioned, they do help a few people damage control. At one time, at least in the comics, their boss has been Baron Zemo, even Norman Osborn. Just a lot more integration to all the different stories and characters in the MCU, but also a big question mark over what's going on and who are we going to see down the line in this series. And finally, we have the music. We have the ending credit song of Seize the Power by Yonaka. In the lyrics, one of the many particular lines of your power is yours for the taking. And you see that song start playing right when Jen's looking at her reflection in the car door mirror, or window rather. And she's kind of starting to come into her own and really taking her power. Just as when she's attacked for the first time by these random goons. At first, she's screaming, kind of damsel in distress. And he goes, oh, wait, I'm me. And she proceeds to handle those guys. Very good on you, Jen Walters. All right, so that has been my quick wrap up and recap of episode 3 of She-Hulk. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Appreciate your time and support here. Please make sure that you are supporting For All Nerds and Views from 616. You can do so by going to our merch page and picking up an amazing t-shirt with some amazing designs, or even a hoodie or anything else that you like it on. tpublic.com/stores/forallnerds. You can also become a member of our Patreon page, patreon.com/forallnerds. Every tier is an amazing tier, and everyone gets special privileges as well as access to free screenings, free merch, free giveaways. We do this all the time and only for our Patreon fan. Thank you so much to everyone who's already on there. Please get more people on there for us. Appreciate you. That's how we pay our team and make sure we can deliver the goods when it comes to these professional podcasts. As always, make sure you're following me. I'm at Tatiana King. Follow my podcast partner at DJ Benjamin and our podcast page on Twitter, Views from 616. Follow For All Nerds on your favorite podcast platform in order to listen to more Views from the 616. And we'll be back soon with a review of She-Hulk episode 4. Bye.